So one last time for this module, it's time to practice what you learned. Here's another assignment. Of course, you find this assignment code attached to this lecture. We're going to practice working with dynamic styles now. Over the last lectures, you learned how to work with them. Now it's your turn to apply your knowledge on your own. In task number 1, I want you to fetch user input from this input field, for example with vModel, and store it in some data property, for example, to then use that entered value to add CSS classes to this paragraph conditionally. There are two classes available which you can enter, user1 and user2, because those classes are predefined here in styles CSS. Of course, you could also add your own ones if you wanted to, but these two already exist. And whenever the user enters user1 in this input, that user1 class should be added to the paragraph. Whenever the user enters user2, that class should be used instead. Maybe also experiment with different ways of solving this, because there will be more than one possible way of achieving this. The next task then still is related to this paragraph, but now also to this button. There are two classes, CSS classes in style CSS, hidden and visible. And you should switch between those classes with that button. When the button is pressed, you basically want to control some isVisible data point, which then in turn is responsible for adding the visible or the hidden CSS class to this paragraph. So you should switch between these classes and therefore hide or show the paragraph. In the third task, we're going away from dynamic classes and will instead work with dynamic inline styles. The user should be able to enter a color here in this input, and that should then be used as a background color on this paragraph, set with dynamic inline styling though. Not with classes, but with dynamic inline styling. As always, take my solution and compare yours against it, both my solution code as well as the video, in case you're stuck, but also try it on your own first.